A sitting king in this country is now openly calling for border control of his territory, and for his territory to be renamed as a homeland for his people. The king of the Zulus is promoting ethno-nationalism on another scale among his own people and appealing for the provincial political structure of KZN to be reshaped in accordance with his political will. Speaking at the 147th commemoration of the Battle of Isandlwana, recently, the king of the Zulu nation, King Misuzulu kaZwelithini, called for the name of KZN to be changed to just KwaZulu, as the king stated in his speech. He said, "We need to remove this Natal. This is KwaZulu only." The king argued that the name Natal reflects a colonial legacy and that there is now a need to return to the pre-colonial era where the Zulu territory was simply known as KwaZulu. Furthermore, the Zulu king also amplified the need to seal KwaZulu-Natal's borders and call for foreign nationals to leave the province entirely. Interestingly, he also called on the Zulu people to not marry or engage in any relationships with foreigners or non-Zulus, but only with their fellow Zulus. The particular occasion in which the Zulu king expressed these nationalist sentiments is very telling. He made these controversial statements during a commemoration of the Battle of Isandlwana, which is perhaps the most famous victory in the Zulu people's entire history. The Battle of Isandlwana, fought on 22 January 1879, stands as one of the most astonishing military reversals in imperial history. At the height of British global power, an entire British column was annihilated by a Zulu army armed mostly with spears and shields. At the time, Britain had colonized the Zulu kingdom as part of its broader project on consolidating the southern African continent under imperial control. Confident in technological superiority, British army commanders believed the Zulu would collapse once confronted by modern rifles, Gatling guns, and artillery. On that, they were proven disastrously wrong and paid a heavy price for underestimating the Zulu warriors. Here, roughly 1,800 British and colonial troops established a poorly fortified camp beneath a distinctive sphinx-shaped hill, and so when a massive Zulu force of around 20,000 warriors suddenly emerged from concealed positions, the British found themselves tactically exposed. Despite their far superior firepower and particularly their Gatling guns, British ammunition supply problems, overextended lines and lack of fortifications proved fatal for them. Once Zulu warriors closed the distance, the battle became hand-to-hand combat. Within a few hours, the camp was overrun. More than 1,300 British and colonial soldiers were killed. The Zulu losses were also very heavy, but strategically irrelevant compared to the shock delivered to the British Empire on that historic day. Now, the Zulu king is appealing to that historic victory by the Zulu people as a victory not only over the British, but a victory over colonialism in general. The province name Natal, which is still in use today, is the Portuguese word for Christmas and was given to that area by the famous explorer Vasco da Gama, who sighted the coastline of present-day KwaZulu-Natal on 25 December 1497, while sailing around Africa to India. Now, the Zulu king is calling not only for increased decolonization, but also for Zulu ethno-nationalism in protecting the province's demographic makeup from mass migration. On top of this, he is now encouraging his own people to marry only within their tribe so as to preserve their cultural and racial identity. What this essentially entails is more autonomy for the province and the protection of its distinct ethno-cultural makeup. Indeed, the province is starting to look more and more like a real Zulu ethno-state when you just consider the demographic developments taking place. Between 2012 and 2026, the Zulu ethnic share of the total population increased from around 70% to 84%. And if current trends continue, the Zulu people will make up over 90% of the province's population in less than 10 years. The sheer practical demographic reality on the ground seem to align with what the Zulu King is suggesting, and his comments inevitably sparked renewed interest in Natal succession. Political parties such as the Abantu Batu Congress have also recently called for the province to secede from South Africa and form an independent Zulu state. Internationally, the idea of an independent Zulu kingdom is also gaining ground, with Grant Arthur Gotchen, the Vice Dean of the Los Angeles Consular Corps, the second largest consular corps in the world and Special Envoy for Diaspora Affairs for the African Union, recently calling for the Zulu people to take up their right to self-determination and establish their own independent state. Here at the Willem Petzer Group, we regard the recovery of the Zulu national identity, which has been so violently destroyed by the ANC, as a positive development in and of itself. We also encourage all the nations of South Africa to appeal to their own rights contained in Article 235 of the Constitution as an aid to the path of full self-determination within their ethnic areas. This ultimately is the solution not only for the Zulu people, but for all the peoples of Southern Africa. If you liked this video, you will also enjoy the previous video we made on Zulu nationalism, wherein we also specifically highlighted how the ANC used extreme violence to suppress Zulu nationalism in the late 80s and early 90s, and the political rise of the Inkatha Freedom Party during the time when it actually posed a very real threat to the ANC's dominance over South Africa. Check out this full research report by clicking on this link appearing on your screen right now. And do consider supporting our work by becoming a paid member of the Willem Petzer Group. It is only by means of your help that we can produce these videos aimed at changing the hearts and minds of people. Thanks, goodbye, and God bless.